have done very little to improve the situation, done nothing to make sure that this doesn't happen again, but instead have spent all of their time trying to figure out how to cover their own butts in terms of what the cause of those wildfires last year, all of the things that they did that they failed to do that allowed these wildfires to explode out of control. This includes deletions and omissions in the Palisades fire response. This was a report that government officials have been trying to hide. It's an admission of the decision to not fully staff and deploy crews ahead of the extreme wind forecast. They deleted admission that crews waited more than an hour for an assignment on the day of the fire. Section on failures renamed primary challenges, deleted admission that leaders violated national guidelines on avoiding firefighters' deaths and injuries. The thing that they're doing now, what they're failing to do now, is there are prescribed burns in all of those state and national-owned areas of forests that they're supposed to burn regularly in order to cut down the threat of wildfires. And, of course, because the environmental wackos are in charge of California, they're refusing to do any of that to prepare anything to prevent the next fire.
So here's what the Wall Street Journal op-ed said on Friday. They said a year later, no accountability for the Palisades fire. The new fire chief pledges transparency, but is giving angry residents the silent treatment. You guys, I still remember that incredible press conference where President Trump, this was happened during the campaign, President Trump went to California and had this press conference. You remember Melania was sitting there next to him with the black hat on, a baseball hat on, and he basically said, "We could get this done in a second. I know I knew this was going to happen." And there's lots of footage showing he knew this was going to happen because they weren't managing the forest properly. And then he said, you need to let the residents get to their place. You need to start doing this rebuild. And what I feel bad for these residents, but there's a part of me that says, listen, the LA citizens have decided that they care more about the environmental radical policies. They care more about LGBTQ and all their wokey agenda than they care about the basics of government.
Right.
The people in charge have proven, from Gavin Newsom all the way down to Karen Bass, who runs LA, the mayor of LA, that they can't do this. They don't care. And now they're even, taking this report, deleting things, covering their butts, as you just said, Charlie. They do not deserve the trust of this community, but these people continue to support and vote for these kind of leaders. So there's a part of me that's like, I feel sorry for you, LA. This is terrible. But you know who can fix it? You need to elect
new leaders.
They refuse to do it.
Well, and let's, remember this. I began the year in those wildfires, covering that. January 7th, I'll never forget being out there and talking primarily to the firefighters. This report is quite damning in the sense that then interim chief Ronnie Villanueva basically watered down this after-action report, which would have highlighted the failures. So you have on one point, Rachel, the fact that Karen Bass was in Ghana when there was a PDS, a particularly dangerous storm warning from NOAA. That is the equivalent of saying that there is a Cat 5 hurricane off the coast of Florida. PDS, red flag warning, is the highest fire danger warning, and yet she was in Ghana, in Africa, before she came back. But, of course, now we're learning more about what LAFD did not do in terms of pre-deployment, knowing that their top leader, the mayor, is AWOL, and yet the LA Fire Department was highlighting where they went wrong, but yet they watered down that after-action report, which doesn't help anyone when you're trying to figure out what to do if the situation should come again.
If they cared about their state, if they cared about their city, if they cared about living in a place that runs like a normal place instead of blackouts, which we're going to be talking about later on, they'd elect somebody like Steve Hilton. But instead, they're probably going to, elect a Democrat and probably another liberal.
Or Donald Trump.
Exactly.
You would get somebody like Donald Trump, who might be rude and might be impolitic, but he actually cares about
God,
competence.
he could fix that like this.
Whoever wants to run for office out there, Hilton or other, they should just stand in the Palisades.